Hey, what's going on, guys? This is KNasty3890 here, and I am here with a video today. I want to talk about some baseball topics that are coming up. Now, coming up on January 24th, they are going to announce the ballots, or who made the Hall of Fame in baseball. And there's a picture on the list you can see right here. I pulled him up on Baseball Reference. Trevor Hoffman. Now, he was, for about a year, was the all-time save leader. He had 601 career saves. Now, for me, this is a good question that I've thought about with myself and I've asked you guys. Is he worthy to be a Hall of Famer? It sounds like he may not get in this year. The announcement will be on January 24th. If not, he'll probably get in next year or maybe the year after that. Eventually, he will get in. But I really don't think he's a Hall of Famer, and I'm going to explain why. Now, before you come to it, I want you guys to listen to this video and hear my argument. And then after you listen to it, if you disagree with it, meet me in the comments down below. If you agree with it, meet me in the comments down below. I like to have like a civilized conversation. I know on YouTube that can be difficult, but let's try to have one down in the comments. And if you learned something new in this video, or it just helps you out in explaining why I'm coming from, drop a like on the video. And let me know if you guys want more of these in the future. But, so here's Trevor Hoffman. Let's take a look at him. As you can see, right here, 601 career saves. That is like the number that a lot of voters are saying he's a Hall of Famer, because there's only, I think, 2 pitchers who have 600 career saves, the other one's being Rivera, and 2, that he was just one of the most dominant relievers of his time. And that, I really don't think. I think so. I really think the only thing Hoffman has going for him is the saves. And I'm going to try to prove it to you guys. Now, before I go any further, I did ask you guys, is Trevor Hoffman a Hall of Famer? I put a poll out on Twitter. I did not tell you guys if I thought yes or no. I just said, do you guys think he's a Hall of Famer? 60% of you said yes. 40% of you said no. 152 votes. It's a very small sample size. But still, if he was on the ballot, and if, let's say, you guys voting on the poll was the Hall of Fame voters, he would not have made it, because you need 75% of the vote. But if you look at Hoffman now, his ERA, you think 2.87. That's a really good ERA. Yes, if you're a starter. If you're a reliever, your relievers' ERAs are always lower. For instance, let's take a look at who, in my opinion, is the best reliever of all time. And I'm a Red Sox fan. Mariano Rivera is by far the best reliever of all time. If you take out what he did in the playoffs, and he is one of the most dominant pitchers in the playoffs of all time as well. If you take that out, he still had more career saves. I don't care about saves. I'm going to go into that in a second. A better ERA. His whip was literally exactly at 1. Hoffman's was at 1.06 if you round up, or 0.5. He struck out more. He pitched more innings. He pitched more games. He did start 10 games early in his career. I don't think Hoffman ever started any games, so he did not. Win-loss is a stupid stat to begin with. It's even dumber for a closer, especially, because if a closer blows a save, let's say they have a 1-run lead, the closer comes in, gives up a home run, bottom of the 9th, his team then hits a home run to win the game. They get a win, but they blew so I hate win-loss to begin with. It's even dumber for closers. So there we go on that. So don't look at that. So he had a lot of saves, but saves are a stat that A, was made up by a baseball writer back in the 60s or 70s. B, it's becoming to an effect that people will just assume that it's the 9th inning is the most important inning. In some games it is. But I would want to ask you guys this. In every game, especially you notice this in the playoffs, do teams use their best pitcher in the 9th inning? If you're facing the Yankees and they have Stanton, Judge, Gary Sanchez up in the 8th inning and you're up by 1 run, do you want your best pitcher pitching that inning in the 8th inning, or do you want your second or third best pitcher, because you want to keep your best pitcher for the 9th when they're going to face 6, 7, 8 in the order instead of the heart of the order? I would want my best pitcher to face the toughest outs there and then bring someone else in for the 9th. That's me. And if you think, well, that's kind of stupid, no one really thinks about that, that's incorrect. Terry Francona, who I think is the best manager in baseball, Andrew Miller does not close games. Andrew Miller is better than Cody Allen. You may think Cody Allen's better because he's the de facto quote-unquote closer. He's not. Andrew Miller is better. Andrew Miller doesn't close. He'll pitch in a 5th inning, a 6th inning, a 7th inning, or an 8th inning. Sometimes he pitches the 9th inning. But whenever there's an important situation, if the bases are loaded, 2 outs, and they got their best hitter up in the 6th inning, Andrew Miller comes in and gets that out. Because that at bat will affect if you need someone in the 9th inning. Does he get a save for it? No, he doesn't. Will you get a win for it? Doubtful. Could he get a loss for it? Yeah, but point is, he doesn't get a save, and I like the fact that Andrew Miller doesn't care that he doesn't get a save, but so that's why I don't really think the save stat matters now. So if we just take out the save stat, just pretend the save stat was never created by, I don't even know who the baseball writer was, in the 60s, just never was created, where you get the last 3 outs in a game, or you pitch 3 when you're winning by 3 runs or less, or if the tying run's on the on-deck circle, or if you pitch 3 innings in a non-normal, untraditional, non-save situation, you pitch 3 innings, you then get a save there. If that didn't exist, is Trevor Hoffman a Hall of Famer? There's nothing really to back it up. So let's say Rivera, better during his time. Rivera's clearly better. If you look at other pitchers who made the Hall of Fame, all the other relievers were guys who pitched multiple innings. Take a look at like Goose Gossage. He pitched way more innings. He pitched 1,800 innings. Hoffman pitched 1,000 innings. And you're thinking, Canasti, why does it matter how many innings you pitch? Because you affect a game more the more innings you pitch. That's why starters have more value than a reliever, because they pitch on average 6-ish innings a game. A reliever on average pitches about a 1 inning a game. Now things have changed. Billy Wagner, in my opinion, if you want to look at a guy who's a 1 inning pitcher, was better. Now, I don't care about win-loss, like I mentioned before. With closers, it's just terrible. Saves, he had less. So that's why he doesn't get the love he does. But he struck out more. He struck out almost 1,200 and 900 innings. Like, he pitched less innings than Hoffman, but he struck out more. Just in general, he pitched 100 plus less innings. He had a lower whip. His whip was lower than Rivera's, under 1. His ERA was 2.31, which is pretty good for a reliever. 2.87 for Hoffman, so that's better. Billy Wagner gets zero respect going in the Hall of Fame, and it's because he does not have 600 saves. Do I think Billy Wagner's a Hall of Famer? I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. But if I was going to have you put a gun to my head, which one of them is a better pitcher? Billy Wagner was better. He was clearly better. Now, if you want to look at wins above replacement, which I like the stat, it's not a perfect stat. I will never say only use wins above replacement to determine if someone's better or worse. However, it's a great extra stat to look at. Wins above replacement for his career was 28.1. That's pretty low because he only pitched 900 career innings. Hoffman's was 28.4. They're virtually the same. Hoffman pitched more innings. That's probably why it's a little higher. But if you look at another reliever here, like Rivera, his WAR was 57.1. You want to know why? A, he pitched 1,200 innings, almost 1,300 innings. B, he was more dominant. And C, he was just, actually doesn't, that's pretty much it. Because C, the last part I was going to mention was the postseason, which that doesn't take into fact. Now, in voting for the Hall of Fame, I think postseason should matter because these stats are their regular season stats. Rivera in his playoffs, like I said, is the best playoff reliever of all time. That gives you a boost. I think what you do in the playoffs gives a boost. Well, I'm not sure how many times Hoffman made the Hall of Fame. He was on some lousy Padre teams for a while. No, he didn't make the playoffs in 98. I believe he was on the 98 Padres. Yes, he was. He was also on the Marlins in 93, but that was before they made the World Series. The 98 Padres. So he did go to the World Series that year. I think that was the only time he went to the World Series. Lost to the Yankees that time. Billy Wagner never made the World Series. Some other relievers, though, like I was looking at how many relievers have made the Hall of Fame. It's really small, and they all were 3-inning guys. For instance, Goose Gossage. He's a guy who pitched 2 or 3 innings at a time when he came in. His ERA was a little higher than Hoffman's, but he also pitched, 1,800 innings. His whip was a lot higher. His strikeout rate was lower, but he was a guy who could pitch 2 or 3 innings every game. Another reliever, Hoyt Wilhelm, he was the first reliever to make it to the Hall of Fame. He pitched 2,200 innings. That is more than double what Trevor Hoffman made or pitched. So he's a guy who, like this, I know, and this is the problem, is like the position has changed. But if you look, his ERA, and I do like run average a lot as a stat, is still better than Hoffman's. He pitched more innings throughout his career. His whip was better, or his whip was worse, but his ERA was better. He didn't have the saves. Then again, the save stat wasn't really around that much back when he pitched. Another reliever who made the Hall of Fame was Bruce Sutter. He is probably the closest comparison, in my opinion, to Hoffman in terms of a guy who has made the Hall of Fame as a 1-inning guy who didn't get saves. He's kind of like the exception to the rule, is Bruce Sutter. He did win a Cy Young Award once. He did win a World Series once. He was a 6-time All-Star. Hoffman's a 7-time All-Star. That being said, I don't like someone who makes an All-Star team, if they're good or not, because Randy Wynn, I think, made 3 All-Star teams with the Tampa Bay Devil Rays when they were lousy in the early 2000s. Every team needs one. Sometimes just you get it because you're someone bad. Brock Holt made an All-Star team because the Red Sox were awful one year. It doesn't really matter. But Bruce Suter's a guy who helps Hoffman's case because he's basically Hoffman's career. Everything like 2.83 ERA, 1,000 innings pitched. 2.87 ERA, a little over 1,000 innings pitched. Suter had half the saves that he had. But he didn't make the Hall of Fame. No, it took him a while to make the Hall of Fame, but he did. So maybe they are leaning more towards the voters. I'm saying when I say they are leaning more towards one-inning relievers because that was more what Suter was. He was one of the first guys to really do it, but it took him a while to get in. So maybe they're leaning more towards that. But I'm in the mindset if you only pitch 1 inning, you better be really, 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 really dominant like this guy, Mariano Rivera. Now a guy who hasn't made the Hall of Fame who has a similar career, Lee Smith. Pitched 1,200 innings, but 200 innings more. He was a 7-time All-Star, 3-time World Age Relief Player of the Year. His strikeout rate was better. His whip was higher. He did have almost 5. If he literally got 22 more saves, I guarantee 10 years ago Lee Smith makes the Hall of Fame. Because he didn't, the voters just wouldn't vote for someone like that. His ERA was very similar to Hoffman, but he didn't make it. I mean, the Hall of Fame voters are kind of just all over the place. Suter and Lee Smith are so close to the same pitcher, but Smith didn't make it. Now, if you notice here, all the players I've shown you what their stats are, and here's Eckersley as well. Here's another guy who was half a closer, half a starter as well. He also won an MVP one year as a closer, which is insane. Only him and Gagne, I believe, have done that. But I didn't bring up any, and I don't want you guys to do this either. Don't bring up any current pitchers and say, we'll compare him to what Hoffman's doing, because those players haven't had the natural decline they will have at their end of their careers. For instance, Hoffman, actually, this is one thing I give Hoffman credit for. He didn't have like a really bad year at the end. He was still pretty good. His third last year, a 3.77 ERA, then a 1.83, then that last year was a 5.89. Usually pitchers will kind of have like those down years, or hitters will struggle at the end, and it hurts their career averages. Hoffman, actually, I give him credit, he did not have that, but that's why I don't want to mention any current players to it. But at the end of the day, I feel like the thing that's really giving Hoffman a push that he doesn't deserve is the save stat, which like I said, I don't really care about. I feel like he's in that same sentence for closers or relievers as Bruce Suter and Lee Smith, and it's a coin flip if they make the Hall of Fame. Yeah, it's yes or no. It comes down to your personal preference. Should a 1-inning reliever, I don't want to call it closer, a 1-inning reliever make the Hall of Fame? It's really hard, and I think you have to be dominant. And did I think Hoffman was dominant when he pitched? No. Did I think Rivera was dominant when he pitched? 10,000%. Do I think Wagner was dominant? He was more dominant than Hoffman, but I don't think dominant enough to make the Hall of Fame as Billy Wagner. So that's my stance on it. So is Hoffman a Hall of Famer? I say no. If you're going to put Hoffman in, then this guy right here, Wagner, needs to go in. And then obviously Rivera will get in. I don't think anyone's going to argue that. And I think Lee Smith should be in there too. But in regards to relievers, don't look at the save stat. Look at their career as a whole, and then compare them to other pitchers who have pitched either in the same era, because of the steroid era. Wagner and Hoffman and Rivera all pitched right around the same time. Smith and Suter pitched around the same time, so that's why I was comparing them. But at the end of the day, I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. I don't think he was dominant. If you're a Hall of Famer, you have to be dominant, and he just racked up saves on below-average teams for 15 years. That's impressive. He was really consistent. But does consistency mean you're dominant at Hall of Famer? In my opinion, my humble opinion, that's a no. So that's it for the video, guys. Like I said, leave me in the comments if you agree, disagree, and why. And hope I made you think a little bit about if he should be a Hall of Famer or not. If you want more of these, let me know. I can do more for other players who are currently on the ballot. But that's it for the video, guys. I'll talk to you later. Take it easy. Peace.